Hey everybody, hope y'all are doing well today. We are here to talk about some hyped up books. I'm sorry, that's not right. We are here to talk about books that are not hyped up enough, in my opinion. I'm not hearing people talk about them. I'm not seeing them on the socials. I say socials, but I mean, like, I'm not seeing them on Instagram. I'm just not TikTok girly. I'm sorry, I'm not. Anyway, I don't hear people talking about it. I don't see it. And I feel like they need more love. And so that's what we're here to do today. I'm here to give them more love in the hopes that maybe you'll want to read them and then give them the much needed love that they deserve. That being said, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new here. I am Jen, and this is Bookmark by Jen. And we're about to get into some really amazing book recommendations. Here we go. The first book that I want to talk about is a new to me author that I found last year, and she is a bit new as far as she doesn't have a huge backlist. This is by Nicolette Terry. So it's part of an interconnected series as well, but they follow different characters and they follow different like premises and tropes. So I mean, like a win-win. This is called The Music That Ties Us. It is, I found it because I was looking for rock star romances, and I don't know how many times I have to say it, but I just love rockstar romances. This is between Damien and Cadence. My first big plus for this one was that it was set in South Carolina, and I mean, I live in South Carolina, so that was just, like a win for me. Also, I really loved the storyline and the characters. I really fell into this story, and I really resonated with the characters as far as like they were real to me. Like I found, and I'm probably going to say this numerous times in this video, but I feel like these books, all of these books, have a very well thought out plot, characters, very well rounded. And that was what this was. So like I said, my first Nicolette Terry book, and it hasn't been my last. I've read a few books from her since then, and she just came out actually with a new book. Let me get this right. It was released on July 9th, and it's called The Thread That Ties Us, which is, like I said, in the same interconnected series, but I believe that this one is like a millionaire or billionaire romance. I haven't read it yet. I've been meaning to, but there is a book that I cannot get through, and I'm making myself get through that before I read anything else. Anyway, okay, let's talk about Cadence, or Kay, and Damien. Kay has been in a 6-year-long relationship with her college sweetheart, who completely changed over the last 6 years and basically treats her like a piece of property, right? More than someone that he loves, that he's in a relationship. She's become property to him, but Kay is like on the cusp of like, what do I do? Like I've been with this person for so many years. The grass is always greener, kind of thing. But she goes out with one of her friends to a local gig, and that's where she meets Damien, who is playing that gig. Damien, so he's got his walls up, and he tries to push Kay away before either one of them falls, because in my opinion, I feel like Damien can see himself falling for a girl like Kay, or Kay specifically. But here's the thing. The pull to be near each other is just way too intense. And so they find themselves together. The spice was there. The story, fantastic. And you wanted to know more about the side characters. I don't know if the side characters do show up in other books. I don't feel like it's one of those interconnected where like these side characters have other books. There may be some overlap. Correct me if I'm wrong. Just a really good, I really love the way that she writes. I really cannot wait to fall into this new release as well. But I want to see more of this book. I think that it needs more hype, right? That is why we are here. Next up, I have a bit of a mafia romance in The Devil I Don't Know by L.K. Shaw. Again, first book that I read by L.K. Shaw, and I distinctly remember devouring this in one day. I couldn't put it down. It was, I don't know if I was just in the mood for it or what, but the story flowed so well. This is between Jacob and Brenna. So Jacob has been gone for about 7 years, and now he's being called back after a family member dies. I think it's his father. I can't remember, but I think it's his father. Either way, there's a death in the family, and he's being called back to take that person's place of the head of the Italian mob. But he's also being called back to marry the granddaughter of the Irish mob, which happens to be Brenna, so that they can form an alliance against the Russian mob. There's a lot of mob play, so there's that. And you have like the that play into it, and I feel like the mafia scene was really good. I really enjoyed that. So, but Jacob was really interesting, and I was drawn to him. Although parts annoyed me or just irked me about Brenna's character at some times, I think that her character developed. I think that her character development was really admirable, and I really enjoyed that. And I love it when I can be annoyed with a heroine, but watch her progress throughout the book, and that means so much to me, honestly, because I find myself so annoyed with heroines, and then there's no growth, and then I get annoyed. I loved that there was growth from her. So Brenna comes from a family where she feels really isolated and really lonely. In her eyes, they don't really pay a lot of attention to her. It's almost like she's an afterthought. But being forced into this marriage, it's an arranged marriage. Being forced into this marriage with Jacob, she realizes that like Jacob sees her. He sees all of her. He sees her strength. He sees her drive. He sees the woman that she is. And so I think what really resonated with me the most about this book was that you get to watch them form almost this friendship of sorts that builds into love. You see them really start to build off that friendship and start to admire one another and really respect one another, and then that respect grows into love, and then you see them become like this powerhouse couple, and I just thought it was phenomenal. I really liked that progression. I couldn't put the book down, and it was a great mafia read. Next up, here's the thing. I don't think that you're going to be surprised when I talk about this. I did give a little bit of a reprieve and didn't talk about it last time because I could have in my unput downable bingeable books, which I will leave in a card for you and down below. I could have talked about it. They're right here. I'm not going to pull them up. I'll just stick them up here for you. It is the Hawksview University series. There are 2 so far. There is about to be a 3rd one. We'll talk about it in a minute. Okay. Anyway, it starts with Shattered Ice. I implore you to read these in order. You have time before the 3rd one comes out, so it's the perfect time to start reading these. But you definitely want to read them in order. Even though they are interconnected series, there is a big thing that is surrounding these books, and you will get the most out of it if you read them consecutively. So far, these are both MM romances. The 3rd book is not going to be an MM romance. Again, I will talk about that in a moment. But they are hockey romances. I feel like I feel like there was a little bit more hockey in the 2nd one as opposed to the 1st one, but it's not overwhelmingly hockey. Like, if you're like tired of hockey, don't shy away from these books just because there's that. I think it definitely builds on the book. But there is so much going on outside of the hockey arena, and they're just amazing. I've talked about these ad nauseum, I know, but they are clearly underhyped. I'm talking about them because I want more people to talk about these books. I want more people to read these books. I want more people to like fall in love with these characters, because when I said earlier that I feel like all of these books have this well-rounded characters and developments and plots and just the story and everything, that cannot be more true than with these books. P.S. Black has done a phenomenal job with everything about this. So we start out with Bodhi and Braden from Shattered Ice. This was my first read by P.S. Black. I immediately was like, what else can I read from her? She, just like Nicolette Terry, does not have a huge backlist. It really isn't, and I like devoured her backlist very quickly. So like, I'm all caught up and just waiting to devour whatever she's writing. Every time I think about these characters, I want to cry. I sometimes tear up. It's just so emotional, so steamy, so wonderfully written. Like I said, full, rounded characters. They really jump off the page. Like, these characters are real. Like, you can't tell me any different. They are real. It's kind of like the Boys of Tommen series. Those characters are real. They're out there living their best lives. You cannot tell me any different. You just can't. My heart broke when the tragedy happened in this book. I'm not doing any spoilers, but I cried with these characters. I cried for these characters. I cried for myself. It was an amazing, amazing story. And Bray and Bodhi have a bit of a taproot relationship, okay? So Bodhi is Bray's new teacher. And for some reason, Bodhi finds it really hard to stay away from this new student who has a bit of let's say like he's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder. He's a little arrogant. He is just a little bit, there's something there's something amiss about Brayden, and Bodhi can't quite put his finger on it. But the way that he is, like, he seems a little troubled, and that doesn't deter Bodhi. It actually makes him more prone to, like, want to be near him. And he becomes a little obsessive and possessive, and he doesn't understand where it's coming from. But all he knows is that he has to be near Bray. He needs to find a way to be with Bray. And also, Bodhi's never been with a man before, so like, why are these feelings coming up? Like, where is this coming from? And like, I also am not scared of them because if this is what love is, and if I can be with this person, like, I need to be. And so, even though Bodhi has dealt with his own tragedy, which are in 2 other books from P.S. Black that you can read, even though he's dealt with that tragedy, it's like, well, I've gone through tragedy, and for some reason, like, I want to be there for this person, and oh, so good. So then we jump into the next book, which is Shattered Hate, and this is between Jackson and Trayton, which we meet both characters in Shattered Ice. So this is a bit of a friends to enemies to lovers, but there's a little bit of a twist with the friends to enemies, which I don't want to spoil. There's blackmail. There's bullying in this. There's tension. It's visceral. I mean, you feel how much Trayton despises Daxton, but you also get the pull between them, and it's like, just yummy. Let's just put it at that. It's just yummy. So you see Daxton remembers or knows something that Trayton doesn't or has forgotten, and that's where like the friends to enemies comes in. Piggybacking off the heartbreak and subplot of Shattered Ice, Daxton is just as heartbroken as the other characters, but he also has a sense of guilt around that tragedy. While he's working through what he needs to be working through, he's also trying to pull himself out of a really like disturbing and rough life. The way Trayton wants to hate Dax, but also can't keep from finding him and then touching him and then wanting to be with him and then fiercely protecting him was just everything. I mean, everything. I love this series so much, if you cannot tell. Any chance that I get to talk about these boys, I'm going to talk about them. I can't wait for the 3rd book, so that's where I'm going to talk about that. It's called Shattered Obsession, which is going to be an MF romance. We've met these characters too. Briefly, Tony we've met, which is our female character, but Cal we've definitely met. He's a part of that friend group. Cal and Tony have a bit of a past, but they haven't seen each other in many years, and I do believe that Tony shows up with a child. So who's that child belong to? You get it. It's going to be amazing. And I also just want to be in that world again with those characters so that I can just surround myself with these boys that I love. And I just want to like give them hugs and just have a like family dinner with them. I'll give them the candy that they love and just have a family dinner and we can all just chat about things. All right, so I could talk about that series forever. Let's move on to Stepbrother Dearest by Penelope Ward. I just love Penelope Ward. Like, honestly, I think I've said this before. If I'm in a rut or a slump or just need something like a palate cleanser, I will gravitate towards Penelope Ward or Vi Keelan or both of them. This one, I always find something, right? Like, I always find something from her books. They are very quick reads. You can immerse yourself very quickly. They're just like no-brainer reads, and I really love them. So, as the title would suggest, this is a bit taboo because it's called Stepbrother Dearest. So, yes, Greta and Alec are step siblings. They don't meet each other until Greta is 17. So they didn't grow up with each other. They were put in a house because Greta's father passes away from cancer. Her mother remarries. He moves in and he has a son, and that's how they meet. So it's not, to me, like, that's not taboo. Yeah, your parents are married, but like you've met each other at the cusp of adulthood. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that he is maybe a year or two older than her. So, I mean, whatever. Anyway, Greta is really excited to meet her new stepbrother until he walks through the door and is cold. And he's a bit of an asshole. I say he's a bit of an asshole. He's an asshole, but like the asshole that we love to hate to love. Okay? So Greta doesn't roll over and take this lying down though. She can pull punch for punch, but she's a total badass and she's very strategic, and I really loved that about Greta. She was a really fun heroine to get to know. She also decides that it's her mission to get Alec to like her. And she does a little bit more than that. So I don't want to spoil anything, but Penelope Ward can write, okay? She always sucks me in, like I said. I've read several of her books, like I've said, and I always devour them, and very, very quickly. And then I am like almost off to the races, and I can't wait for my next book. She just pulls me out of whatever I'm in. It's like I've mentioned, a great palate cleanser, but this one just, I don't know. There was something there, and I just want this out more. People, more people should read it. If you like a little bit of taboo, but like you want to dip your toe into something like this, because they didn't grow up together. So it's taboo, but like in my opinion, it's not taboo. But for somebody who doesn't read taboo, I think this is the perfect book. All right, so something happens between Greta and Alec, and it's steamy and it's yummy, and you're like, well, thank God, because I've been waiting for this, right? But then unforeseen forces take place and they separate them, and they do not speak or talk. Well, obviously, they don't talk because they just said speak, but they don't speak or see each other for 7 years. And then we're at part 2 of the book. Part 2, you guys, is like everything. Alec has grown up, and he's even more yummy than he was when he was like a sub-teenager adult. And Greta is no longer the somewhat naive teenager. She's grown up. She has moved on. She's got more life under her belt. Now, I said 7 years have passed, but they still have this connection. You got to read it to know, like, I mean, they got a connection, but they still have this. There's this thing. There's this chemistry. There's a spark. There's a connection, right? Like, it's between them. And even though all this time has passed, it's like, it's still there. I'm just gonna say, but it's like this pull, right? This need to be together, this guttural need to be together, but they can't because they've moved on. It's been 7 years. Some people are in relationships, maybe. Who knows? You must read it, but you should read it. There are some twists. There are some like eye openers. There are some really fun scenes in this book, and I think like those, as well as like the steamy parts, it really just cemented this book as stellar to me. And I just feel like more people should read it. Hence why it's on this list. Let's move to, oh my God, it's the last book. I only put 6 books on this list. Okay. Reckless by Chris Riley. I found Chris Riley when, there is no surprise here, I was looking for rockstar romances. I still haven't finished the series with the rockstar romances that were phenomenal, by the way, and definitely could be on this list. But I picked this one because, well, I already had a rockstar romance, and this is like pseudo rockstar, but not as rockstar as the other book that I was gonna pick. let me explain. Okay. So this is between Jude and Krista. I picked this one because it was a fun twist on a rockstar romance, and I love rockstar romances, but I also love when there's this really fun twist or just a different side of a rockstar romance, and that was this. So Jude, who is our rock star, Jude runs away from his famous lifestyle in need of a much needed break. And he literally stumbles into Krista on her yearly road trip through the Midwest. She does it by herself in this really awesome van, and I think that like that in and of itself was a little bit of a side character to me, and I just really loved this band, and it made me want to go on a road trip. I mean, it really did. But she does this throughout the Midwest, and it's like her way of rejuvenating, resetting herself, getting back to the roots of what she wants to do with life, and just being with herself, I mean, like, the world can be so loud, but your inner thoughts can be so loud. And so taking time for yourself and just like really being okay with being with yourself and being with your thoughts, I think that has, I don't know, I just like, that's the message that I got from this. One of the messages that I got from this. Not only is it a romance, but it really endeared me to Krista and Jude. So they hit it off, and she offers to drop him off and ends up not dropping him off. Jude stays with her, and they spend these quiet moments together, and they spend this introspective time together. But then they also start sharing their favorite playlists with each other, in songs with each other. And it starts Jude into wanting to write a little bit more. And it was like a road trip with rock stars and just fun music. And I just really loved this book, and I don't see a lot of people talking about it, and we should totally hype this up. Please and thank you. That is it. Those are some books that I feel are not getting enough hype and should be hyped up more. And I am asking you to help me hype them up. Read one of these books and then report back. Let me know what you think. So, my question for you is, what is a book or books, I will take more, that you feel is a phenomenal book that is just not talked about enough, that needs more hype? Maybe I can help you with that. So leave that down in the comments below. Let's hype up more books that need to be hyped up, right? I feel like we go down rabbit holes and everybody snowballs and likes the same book, and that is amazing, and we find so many books that way. But there are also so many amazing books that, like, for whatever reason, get swept away with the current, and I feel like these books should not. We should talk about them more. So let's do that, and I'm going to catch you next time. But until then, happy reading.